YouTube, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. This is Thomas with Mr. Fix-All Home and Garden out of Raleigh, North Carolina, coming at you. Okay, this is a topic that I get a lot of questions about. A lot of questions about running a small business, handyman business, things of that nature. And I'm going to try to do some highlights about that and give you some advice, okay? A lot of questions have come across, and of course, they're from one spectrum to the next spectrum about how I run my business or advice about how to run your own small handyman business, and I'm going to try to give you as much detail as I can in a short period of time, okay? All right. The number one thing I've always been telling you guys about running a small business is, the legality part, getting a business license, depending on the state you live in, and if it's required or not. Most states require a business license of some sort with liability insurance. If those are the only two things you need, then you're up and running. Then you just need a company name and get you some business cards and you're good to go. But now in the state of North Carolina, they changed the laws. We used to have a business license only if you're doing more than $50,000 to $30,000 a year. Excuse me. So if you're doing more than $30,000 a year, it was required to have a business license. That was $50 a year. But we've had some tax breaks in the state of North Carolina, and they changed that rule. You don't need a business license. Now, you do need liability insurance. Now, liability insurance will cost you anywhere from $400 to $600 every quarter, depending on what state you live in, okay? Now, that's important. You got to have that. Now, workman's comp. Workman's comp is only if you hire employees. Now, there's some, people have asked me because they work for rental management companies, and they require all these different things that you have to have as a small business. Workman's comp, you have to have a bond and business license, and, the list goes on and on sometimes. But in the state of North Carolina, as long as you're an S corporation like I'm, a sole proprietorship, not an LLC, or any other type of entity, I can work by myself. So when people ask me, it goes, oh, do you have workman's comp? I just tell them flat out, I don't need it because I don't hire employees. Now, when you do hire employees, you can do a 1099 with them, but they've got to be a licensed, they got to be licensed. If they're going to come out there as a subcontractor, you got to know what their status is. So a lot of these general contractors will hire a subcontractor, and then the subcontractor hires all these basically illegal people that aren't really technically a company. They're just workers. But they'll 1099 these guys and say, oh yeah, they're a subcontractor. Well, that's against the law. You can't do that. In fact, the state of North Carolina has put down the hammer on that because there's too many of these fly-by-night guys, but they're being hired by general contractors as subcontractors. And they 1099 these guys, and they don't even have a business license, or they're not even a business. In fact, they're really invisible people. When it comes down to it, they don't pay taxes, they don't do anything. So that's a real problem. Be careful of that when you run your own small business. Be careful what rules you've got to, apply by and what you've got to work by or work with whatever state or county you're in, but be very careful about the 1099. Okay, now the way I run my business, like I tell you guys, I have never advertised in my life. I've spent no money except for putting lettering and stuff like that on my van and on my truck, okay, and on the side of my landscaping trailer. So my thing is I'm very visible. I'm in the city. My vehicles are all over the place, and people see that, and they, basically, my whole business started from people seeing my van. That's really how the business got started, and I just happened to run into the right people. The hospital system, the rental management companies, a lot of the doctors I work for, and a lot of the industrial and the commercial accounts that I have, and residential too. But what I do is I make everybody send me an email, and it's a legal paper trail, okay? The email is important, so I put my email on my business cards, and I basically have a paper trail saying that if I'm on your property and somebody comes up and approaches me and says, who are you and what are you doing on this property, I got permission right here from the homeowner. Here's all this information, which of course I don't disclose unless the person's family member or something like this, or police or something like that. And I'll just flat out disclose the information and say, I'm authorized to be here, and this will clear up any questions and also keep you out of the shit, okay? So then with the email, what I do is then I set up the initial appointment. The initial contact is when I tell the customer, the future customer, hey, send me an email, and then I'll call you and follow up, and then we'll set a preliminary appointment, okay? Once that preliminary appointment's set up, I make sure that I show up on that time that I and the customer agreed upon, okay? So then after that, we go in for the estimate basically, look at the job he's got or the repairs, whatever, and then I'll write up a formal estimate. And you've got to have a lot of your own paperwork drawn up, which I went to the printer, and also my bookkeeper drew up a bunch of proposal sheets and estimate sheets and bid sheets, and that way it looks a lot more professional. And also too, your invoicing. So it's nice and clean, neat and easy. I know you can't see this, but this is my invoicing. And it has all my contact information up here, email address, everything, business license, whole 9 yards, my mailing address and all that. So that way you look professional, okay? Now you can go on your computer and, upload Office, and all those forms are on Office. But of course you have to pay for Office. I think it's like $70, something like that for the, and I'm not sure of that because I don't have Office. I've got a bookkeeper and I got a CPA. They make all the forms for me and they do basically all that. So then what happens is I was telling you about this, these chat forums, side porch, back porch, the neighborhood gossip column, where all the gossip forums where everybody basically talks about everything, okay? And then your name gets dropped around. The last couple of weeks, I've been doing jobs that are all related to this side porch, back porch forum, and my name is being dropped around all through the Bedford, the Heritage, the Wakefield communities, and now over in Hazen Tree. Now Hazen Tree, I just did a big deck staining job. I showed you that. I couldn't give you a completion video of that because the homeowner was there the entire time. He was a little bit more upper executive, so I just wanted to, abide by his privacy and just didn't show you another part of the video where I finished the work. But I finished that the other day, got paid, then went straight over to my commercial account, which is the doctor at one of his offices that I had a bunch of repairs to do in, and which that was set up months ago, and I just showed up when I was supposed to show up with the email, got with the office manager, say I'm here, let's do all these repairs. And then today I got another job with Side Porch, going into a lady's home and hanging up a flat screen TV, mounting it on the wall and hanging up about 20 different paintings for, and that was a very good paying job because that was $50 an hour. Okay, let's just jump right into something that you guys have all asked about, is labor rate. Okay, here's how I use my labor rate, and this is the way I break it down, and this is the way I've calculated. Now, for you guys, it's going to be probably different, but this is the way I've set it up. Excuse me. Residential is $50 an hour. Commercial is $75 an hour. And industrial is $100 an hour. Okay? That's my flat hourly rate. I've been charging that for years. Everybody's accustomed to what I charge. I don't get nobody question me about those rates because it's locked in stone. That's what I've got to make. And my big thing is being able to book a minimum of 40 hours of labor hours per week. Now that could be in 6 days, could be in 7 days, as long as in that block of 7-day period of time, 1 week, that I'm booking 40 labor hours, okay? Now that is where I have to be every single week. It doesn't always come out that way because I'll mix it up with some commercial which pays double what the residential pays, so I can work less hours at commercial or industrial and make the kind of money that I have to make and work less hours. But since I've already got all these contracts in the loop, it's just a matter of me showing up. So I already know what my rates are. It's going to be 50, 75, and 100. So I just submit the invoices to everybody. I wait, 5 to 10 days and I get paid, okay? Plus all my landscaping customers, which I've got 15, and they're on a flat fee per month. So, you know, the minimum is 150, the highest is 250. And multiplied by 15, so that's my monthly income for landscaping. Now, the way I keep myself organized is I go through my emails every single day, and I write down a 1-week itinerary. This just tells me what I have to do every single day for a 7-day period of time. And then as I get down this list, I'll mark off that I've completed the job, okay? Before I go to any one of these jobs, I have the corresponding email that goes with it, and I call these people up 48 hours to confirm, or text them, letting them know I'm going to show up, and then the agreed upon time I show up, I do the job, and I mark it off. I submit the invoice, or they pay me on the spot, and then I put a double check mark beside it, knowing that I've done the job and I got paid. Okay? Because remember, I have a lot of contracts that I have to wait 10 days to get paid, so I don't put the double check mark by that name or that job unless I know I've gotten paid. Okay? That's the answer to that question there, how to keep organized. Okay? So, you got your bids, you got your proposals, you've got, of course, your invoicing, you got your business cards, you got your business license, you got your liability insurance. These are your general basic paperwork items that you have to have with you at all times. I've got, of course, like nothing fancy, but this is my mobile office. I keep everything in here. All my contracts, my business license, my liability insurance, everything I need is in this. And every time I walk out the door in the morning, I have this in my hands, okay? Because you never know who you're going to run into, right? Business cards, you know, you hand out business cards. You might have a job the next day, brand new customer out of nowhere, but you want to be able to make sure you write them up. That's the other thing. Get